Should we go now? Oh, I'm checking my audio. La 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 la. Yeah. Check, check, check. Okay. So we've got some audio. Let's make sure we're on the right audio input here. Let's use my laptop microphone. We don't want that. Mine gets this one here. All right, we're good. Let's turn the microphone. All right, let's see. Yep, that works. Okay, cool, cool. Mr. Physical, what's up, dude? Hey, Jared. It's been a long time since I've done this, guys, so sorry about that. Sound is good. Yay! That's good. That's very different than usual. So today I'm here in an 11 STi Hatch. I don't recall the turbo. It's like a Cop 20G or something like that. ID 1050s, I think, and an EMtron. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. Just a nice, you know, nice driving car. Tunes like I want EMtron more than I already do. Right? Yeah, I hear you. I've got Noah here with me today. Noah's in high school. He's shadowing me today. He wants to do a senior projects on dyno tuning. So here we are on the dyno. All right, well, it seems to be working. So let me do one partial pull, and then we'll shut that hatch so you can hear. Okay, so I think that controller was just bad. It's still working, okay. Unless it's just overheated. The other one ran for a while, so yeah, we'll see how long and see if it's overheated or not. But would you shut the hatch for me real quick? Yeah. Thank you, appreciate it. All right, cool. All right, well, that was unnecessarily laggy. That's for sure. End speed is really low. That's why the thing stops very early in the pull. So set the end speed at 130. We usually do about 130 and 4th on these. That first pull was a whopping 296 wheel. Whoop whoop. Bring up boost on the dyno, and then I'm looking up here on the log. Make sure they match and see what we got going on. Okay, so the whole 12 pounds of boost. Right on. Okay. 12 pounds. All right, so first thing I'm going to check now is I'm going to check my cam timing. So, Noah's trying to learn a little bit about dyno tuning. Obviously, I can't teach him to tune in one day. You guys all know that by now. But I do want to see where the throttle was at. 87%, so it wasn't full open, so we got to tweak some things there. Okay, so we had mostly a full throttle, but not quite a full throttle. Boost-wise, wasted use cycle should be 0. We look here at boost valve position. This purple spot here is 0 the whole time. That's because this was a break-in tune. The car's all broken in now, so I get to add some duty cycle and make power with it. See, boost proportional here is 75%. It's like, just give me boost! But it wouldn't work because I have the max set at 0, so I gotta watch out for that. That's a pretty large proportional value there, so if I am outside, oh, I guess it doesn't matter if proportional brings itself down to 0. Integral was low. It got the 3, so definitely no integral wind up there. That's good to go with that. Derivative obviously didn't do jack because I never even got close to the target and boost never went up. You see right here, here's some negative derivative right here. That's as the boost went up a little bit, but that's just a tiny bit. That's its job. So no boost was happening there. That's fine there. That's good engine health. All my temperatures look normal. lambda was hugging lambda target quite well. Look at the tune tab. We'll see how much correction that took. 3% in the middle here. See my total corrections. Short term, long term right there. So only 3%. So my V table is pretty money. 3 to 4% is not bad at all. So V table is pretty money. I can definitely add just a little bit to that, or potentially, if it's based on intake air temps, so it is a cooler day than it was tuned last time. I need to add a little bit to the air temp compensation to add some mass to it, so the lambda correction will go down. And the last thing I wanted to check, oh no, there's two things I want to check. I want to check engine noise with NOx, see where that's at. Much lower than my threshold, which means realistically I could probably bring the threshold down some because this huge gap means engine noise is fine, and this threshold really should be just above engine noise, so that any loud or any sudden increases in voltage are seen as NOx. So I could probably turn that down a little bit. We'll do a little more tuning with it first before I do that though. And then the cam timing is where I want to go next. Seemed pretty freaking laggy, so I want to see my cam timing was doing what it's supposed to be doing here. And I'm seeing positive 31 on intake and negative 25 on exhaust, which tells me the cam timing is working fine. This is just a laggy ass turbo. Holy shit, is it laggy? Wow, it's so much lag. It's probably an FB green now that I think about it. I think this car is an FB green, which makes sense as to why it's so incredibly laggy. What kind of shocks are on this car? Thanks, smartass. I have no idea. I didn't look at them. I think the top heads looked factory, so it might be on stock suspension. I don't know. Okay, let's see. And targets versus position. So my position is a little behind on the way up and a little above on the way down, and that's fine. I could potentially remove some derivative out of that because I got this wiggliness, or I could increase the integral to help it hug tighter to the target. But you see right here, it's 2 degrees. That's not much in cam timing. But I think I'll do it anyways, just to get it a little closer to target. So to do that, first step, we'll go to tuning, engine functions, we're looking at VVT cam control. We're going to go to closed loop and integral gain. Integral is how fast does it count up to get the duty cycle to help it hit targets. So we're going to do that. I'm going to go and 2 clicks is actually a 50% increase right there on this peak, because it was 0.004 and that's 0.006. So I actually had a 50% increase on the integral compared to what it was before. Still a small value. It might not be enough, but you know, you may want to grab that shift click, hit up, and it becomes a big change. And even though you clicked it once, it doesn't feel like a big change. Next pull, your boost is doing this and wobbling around and stuff. So be aware of what changes you're making and how big that change is in relation to what exists already on the table. So like I said, I added 50% more integral than I had before, even though it was only 0.002% per second per degree. So, okay. Let's see. Got that part. VE table is really close, like I said. Wow, that's freaking laggy. I'm going to start the pulls later because this dyno is a little funny with the ramp rate. If I start a little later, it'll appear less laggy, and it'll be closer to the street. Starting it down at 2,000 RPM is not representative of what this thing will do on the street. So, the raise the start speed. It's really low. I don't remember setting that low. I think somebody else did the dyno. I usually have it for this car at 45 to 50 anyways, and it was down at 35. So it's already off from what I normally run on these. So that. You guys can't see that. I'm sorry about that. And actually, the cam timing is, this turbo is so laggy. Let's go back to login again. Look at the cam timing. This turbo is so laggy. Let's see. 20 and 20 and 5. And 5 is when boost came in. So that's not too bad. I could keep a little more cam timing through here. And a little more overlap on the intake and exhaust. Well, obviously the exhaust is overlap. A little more overlap overall into these regions here. Like, I could keep it in here a bit more. Why is my efficiency calculation 150? Was I at 10 pounds right there? No, it was not. Wait, that's 7 pounds. That's wrong. I don't want this on calculation. I don't want that. But my fuel map is based on pressure, so my cam timing should be based on pressure. So that's wrong. I gotta fix that. I screwed that up. So it should be manifold pressure. One thing to keep in mind is with cam timing and overlap. With cam timing and overlap, you want overlap to help the spool, but you want to remove overlap or begin removing overlap when you get into boost. And ideally, you base this off of exhaust pressure to manifold pressure. If you don't have that ability, like this does not have an exhaust pressure sensor in it, then you just have to kind of guess. But the idea is that you have the most overlap when you have a positive delta, and you have the least overlap when you have a negative delta. So a positive delta would be the manifold pressure is higher than exhaust pressure. A negative delta would be exhaust pressure is higher than manifold pressure. So you want overlap flow, and you want that overlap flow to go from the intake to the exhaust. You don't want overlap flow from the exhaust to the intake. Otherwise, you just lose power. Remember before we were talking about the internal EGR, right? That's the same idea. If I take and I have a higher exhaust pressure, which in cruise you do. I'm cruising down the highway. I back off the throttle to hold speed. My manifold pressure drops into a vacuum, right? Atmospheric pressure outside is still high. So if I add a lot of overlap, then exhaust pressure goes into the intake or is retained in the cylinder at the minimum, and I have more what's called internal EGR. Right? It's the same idea. Same idea with the pressure ratio. Like when I'm cruising, the pressure ratio is really high in the opposite direction, exhaust higher than intake pressure. It's the same when I get a really high boost. When I get a really high boost, high RPM, exhaust pressure is going to be way above intake pressure too. So I have that same pressure ratio, the same negative delta. And so the difference is that in boost and up a higher horsepower, I don't want internal EGR. So I'm going to get rid of all the overlap. Whereas in cruise, I want the internal EGR to reduce pumping losses and get better fuel economy. So in this cam timing table here, I'm looking at the intake target, and a higher number means I'm advancing the cam. If I'm advancing the cam, it's closer to the intake, or the intake is closer to the exhaust, I'm increasing the overlap. Same with the exhaust. When I go to the exhaust target, if I give it a higher negative number, it's pulling it, it's retarding the cam closer to the intake cam. Again, I have more overlap, I have more EGR. Did you miss information on the car? The information is I don't know what's in the car, honestly. I don't recall. Pretty sure it's a green. Pretty sure it's a green and all that. So I'm just trying to get it to spool a little faster because that is really bad. But these greens are really bad. So I can increase this a smidge. It'll help a little bit, but do too much and they'll start hesitating when you try and cruise. You give them too much overlap at like light throttle, and there's just no fresh air coming to the engine, and you go, not wanting to go anywhere. So you got to watch that. In fact, this region right here, I should probably not have it right here, because it'll make it kind of gutless in that zone. So with the exhaust, it's really weird. I'm going to do it like this. Get rid of some of that in that mid-range area. Then when it builds a smidge, I'll put a little more into it right there. And then this. Here I'll go. I got better. Okay. All right, now let's enable the boost control. Obviously, that's going to help because I'll have a little bit of duty cycle on it, and that'll help it put some duty cycle down low to raise the spool threshold. But I mean, it's not going to do a lot. There's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can do. Do that until we figure out how much duty cycle it takes to make boost. That should do it. Oh, let's check. So 168 that we got there. Where's my map limit? Mine the limits should show me map limit. I don't see it. Engine speed, RPM, rev match. Huh. Oh, map limit request. Oh, that's the request. I don't the request. I want the value. It's not there. All right, so let's add it. Oops, wrong one. Oops, I don't want exhaust mode. I want this one. Okay, so map limit 210, and we're at 168. So, oopsie, don't want to do that. That means we will get to that limit pretty soon. From there, I did that? I hit the highest min-max logs, so I screwed up. I don't want that. Oh, let me change it. I'm on the wrong one. There we go. Okay. So when we approach that map limit, we'll know in a little while. All right. So do that. Add some duty cycle. Now let's check our target. Our clamp is set at 244, which will blow through our limit. This one's set at 236, so we'll blow through our limit. 275. We're definitely gonna blow through the limit. So 235. Okay, so let's adjust that limit before I hit it. Boost target. Yep, there we go. What I like to do usually is set the limit based off the target and add some, like 10 kPa or so, right? So that'd be that. This would be 160, like that, and then you would interpolate to get it. Now, I like to be careful about this. So having it at 160, does that make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. I don't want it at 160. I want it above what wastegate pressure would give me, because otherwise I could hit that limit shifting or whatever, and I don't want that. So I want it within reason. So what I'll do is I'll put it somewhere like 220 here, like that, and then bring it up with the limit the rest of the way, so that if there was a problem, based on the map target, then it could do it. And then eventually I can adjust all this other stuff here. But right now I just want to get some pulls in on this car because I'm burning daylight hours, and I need to do what I need the dyno for, right? I need to do the tuning for the power stuff. Wow. All right, so boost came in a lot sooner. I do have some waving to the boost, which, is expected because I didn't do much to work to the PID system. It's just set up as it was on my initial map. So we'll look at it and we'll see a little bit of waving here. Not a whole lot, but just stuff that I saw while I was going. And if you look at proportional, see proportional going up right here, which means we were below target still, which we see here as well, below target. I only gave the valve 20% authority, so that's all they could do. It's kind of interesting, though. I am interested in the fact that it moved around right here. It stayed at 20%, but moved right there. So that tells me I probably have throttle movement or cam timing movement. Cam's, man, the intake is good. Look at that. That increase in the integral I told you, the 50%, really snugged it up. Look how much tighter that target is to the actual. So just that 0.002% per degree per sample time made a difference for sure. But we look here at the exhaust is moving around a little bit. Good, right here, we're getting this wave through this period. See that right there? We heard that. I felt that on the dyno. So waving around the target. So I need to change my exhaust AVCS stuff. So let's do that real quick. Engine function, GVT, exhaust closed loop. Let's look at proportional first. Proportional is, it's kind of a small value. Oh, this is a huge value. Look at this. This is way bigger than the intake was. That's 5 times the intake value. So we're going to lower this down closer like that. Now, that was a big change right there. So that's 30% out of it. One click, and I pulled 30% out of my integral, right? That's a significant change. So again, keep that in mind when you're doing stuff. How much are you pulling out? I cut that in half just now almost. It's almost 50% less. It's still 3 times that of the intake. So we may find that the intake PID stuff is a lot closer, and we like that, but we'll find out. You don't want to just assume they're the same because they're different systems, different springs. Well, fuck, the exhaust has a spring, intake has no spring. Different drag because they're different cams, they're different oil supply because they're part of the heads. So the PID strategy might not even be anywhere near the same. So I don't want to assume and just go right to the intake one. Oh, it's the same as intake, right? Because it probably isn't. Let's look at our throttle because I know that I never did do the adjustment on that. So we're stuck at 90% throttle, 90 to 100 angle adjustment power, but let's fix that right now since it's in my head. Let's go here on our throttle body area table. The way this system works is a little irritating, to be honest with you, but we request 100, and so it tries to go to 100, but it gave me 95, which means that my request might only be 95. Torque management, throttle area demand. So my pedal, okay, so my pedal didn't go to 100%, so I got to adjust my pedal a little bit. But also, I'm going to raise this up because I have found that this thing is just a little stubborn, these EMtrons right here in this region. So I'm going to do that, but I do need to recalibrate the accelerator pedal because it's obviously not correct. So let me save this real quick. Uh-oh. That's backwards. Wait, now it's nothing. What's going on here? It is freaking out. Well, let's do close calibrate. It's right here. I don't touch anything. Oh, it's freaking out. Interesting. All right, let's see what we got going on. Try by wire shut on. Pedal position disagreement. Sure, makes sense. Clear. Close. Let's do it one more time. Close calibrate. Closed. Engine. Open calibrate. Open. Still. Hmm. There it is. My brain wasn't seeing it for some reason. Pedal position. Filter 2. I don't want to filter too much. Rewind. Custom. Yep. Okay. Weird. See, we're not using TPS in the TPS. I'm using pedal position sensor. This might just be totally screwing it up here. This might freak it out. Oopsie. I hit the wrong time. That's going to piss it off again. Oh. Oh, weird. That's really bizarre. It's having me do it. Okay, it used to. I missed it. Usually it says press it down, then hit OK. This one just goes right to calibrate, so that's what pisses it off right there. There we go. That's my fault. The new software update screwed me up. I missed it. Okay. All right, so now it's happening. All right. Right to ECU, and we'll try it again. We should get full throttle this time. Try it again, our ECU. There it is. I do want to do one more thing actually before I do this. Let's go here to here. I should recalibrate this to screw those settings. Number 2. Hit that, and it'll say calibrating to the right here. Then it'll say calibration complete when it's done. There it is, complete. Cool. So with the normal mode. All right, there we go. So make sure that was good. Yeah, look at that. That's better. Pedal position and throttle position match. All right, so I want to add some boost duty cycle to it. I fixed the cam stuff, so let's add boost duty. I said duty. We're going to go now. We're going to go with at the higher boost levels. Actually, what did that give us? So that gave us right around 13 pounds. So peaked at 15 and tapered to 13. So 15 peak, taper 13. That means it gave us just over 100 kPa of boost, so 200 and something kPa, which we can see right here. So if our target is 200, then we know 20 is about right because that's what it gave us. It gave us around there. So we can start raising the target here. I'll go 10, which is a pretty sizable jump. That might be too much. I'm going to go 50 here, and then we will see what it gives us. That means down here I need 20, right? Because 20 would give us too much boost. So here it's 0. Do that. Okay. So we'll start with that. And then before I do anything else, I'm going to double check minimum. All right. And then I'm going to look at my initial position table. It's all zeros. So I'm going to do the same sort of thing. I'm going to start with 90s down here. Actually, we'll do 90s the whole place because this is all, it's my initial. And then we're going to go 65 through here. That might be too much right there, but we'll see. Yeah, this spot might be too much. I'm gonna drop that down. We'll go 35, and then I will blend all this stuff here in a minute to the right values based on what the system gives us. But for right now, let's see what the system gives us. Yeah, we're all over that target. I think our limit is by this target too, though, right? Hit my limit? Yep, there it is. So I hit the limit, you can see. Which is interesting because I didn't feel like I was 10 over the limit, and the limit and the target were close. So, but yeah, right here you see I cut. So I definitely went over it. Let's go ahead and boost again. And so I went over my target by 10. Oh, there it is, yeah, by exactly 10. And I had my boost duty was at 26 before it went over. So that 20 range is super sensitive. Wow, that's going to really suck to tune. At 6% duty, it gave me that much more boost. Man, that's going to suck. All right, well, that is what it is. Unless you blew a line off the wastegate or something, which also wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to turn the limit a little bit, though. 10's too close. I just did 10 to show you guys, and then I forgot to actually raise it up. But 10 is definitely too close. Usually like 20 or 30. Like that. All right, let's do it again. I mean, hear the oscillation again in there. There's quite a bit of oscillation in the boost control. And we can see a little bit here in the pink line, the lower corner here. A little bit of oscillation there. I mean, it's only a few percent, which is totally a bummer. It means I really need to look at how this boost control system is hooked up, because does not seem like enough that it should cause that much wiggle. So they might have this set up shittily. But that made 404 wheels, so that's a significant increase. And it did run the 21, 22 pounds of boost that it was targeting. So that's a significant increase. And all of that. I'm going to clear up the screen so Noah can see it a little better. But you can hear see the wiggle right there? Oh, yeah. And you heard it, right? See the boost wiggling right here? And see how much the boost and power are tied together right there. Look at that. Boost higher, power higher. But the boost is mostly flat. You know, the wiggle's spot right there. And the power goes up over 400 wheel. Can't bitch about that. On the second to last pole, what was that kind of second? That was hitting a boost cut. Oh. So we hit the overpressure limit, and so it cut the car. Car text noise. Hey, dude. What's up, Jordy? Matt B. Hi, Matt. Sorry if I missed your message earlier. All right, so it means I got to lower the boost PID a lot, which is 22, 21. 22 peak and 21 steady state. All right, my throttle control, my idle control is not great. I got a few little bobbles here and there. Let's see if I can tweak that at all. Stepper. Why is it stepper an option on it? The fudge is going on there. Look at those big swings right there. Idle position's not changing that much. The timing's not changing at all, so let's fix that. This will make it a lot more aggressive. Increase the proportional and the derivative will definitely make the out of control more aggressive. I don't see that helps. That might help. I need to reduce the activity of the throttle blade. Yeah, I might need to change that a little bit. So these streams here on the front, you see these streams here? They auto scale. So based on what it's seen. So now we're seeing this big jagged line, but if you look really close, that's 830, that's 870. So it's only a 40 RPM difference there. Right? 44 RPM difference. So it auto scales so that you can see it at the highest resolution available at the log time. If I rev this, right, now the scale is at 1400 from 806, and we lose all that resolution. But when this leaves the screen, it'll scale back up again so we can see closely what's going on. The other cool thing with EMtron is I get P. P says pause, and that pauses these screens so I can look at any data I wanted on here. So it's almost like a data log without being a data log. All right, so we're still seeing some oscillation, and the timing's trying really hard. So something is making it oscillate. So we're going to go to switch. So the cooling fan kicked on. So I might have too much cooling fan on it, too much throttle when the cooling fan kicks on, and I'm inducing a swing. So you see the target went up, and then you see, bam, it overshot. So that means I got too much throttle movement on the fan. So we'll go to position offsets, engine fan, and that's just too much. This number here is too much, so we'll go down 0.3 like that. That should help. And then what I like to do too is go to ignition and then do some user tables, user comp like this. See, I have it for the AC clutch where it pops up 5 degrees based on AC clutch. I can also do it based on engine fan if I want. I can add another composition based on the fan. So it throws a couple degrees at it to help minimize any transients that would be induced by. Oh, I could probably put them both on the same map too, couldn't I? Let's do that. Let's see if I can do engine fan. So here we'll go 2 degrees, and then here it's going to be 6 degrees, or both like that. So what this will do is, if it's running like this right now with no AC, no fan on, the timing is normal. The fan kicks on, boom, it adds 2 degrees to it, help it control idle. And then here, if the AC kicks on after that, it'll add 4 more. Or if it's a none and the AC kicks on, it'll add 5. So that'll probably work, as long as the fan doesn't kick on while you're doing a pull. I know the fan kicks off at a certain vehicle speed. At 60 miles an hour, I think those are 40 miles an hour, the fan kicks off. So I do need to think about that. Yeah, so I should probably separate these, add a separate one for the engine timing, or for the fan, so that I can make it based on RPM. That way, if it's above idle, I don't need the extra timing above idle. I wish there was a condition setting for this user comp here. That'd be great. Oh, right there, user function. So I can create a function. Yeah, I can create a whole function on it. Turns out I can, but I'm not going to. Oops. I'll do this. I'll go back to it. Oops. I don't know if I know. Oh, wait. My cursor went over there. Interesting. I like running at negative 100 degrees timing. I'm sure that comes as a big surprise to everybody here. There we go. Okay, now it turns off with RPM so I don't add a bunch of time into it. I'm doing a pull. Paul, what'd you miss? Everything's good, right? Weird how he does all this idle stuff instead of just making a burble tune. Purple Line look like Simon's text before on Age of Empires. Is it flat? I haven't seen the purple line. Yeah, yeah. Or my army value, one or the other. All right. Okay. Okay. So we got that stuff situated. Now let's go back to the log again real quick. Check this log and see if we can work on the boost control a little bit. Like I said, I'm a little bummed out that it's this sensitive and waving around with just a few percent. Like, That is not a lot of change in duty cycle to yield a lot of change in this. So um, the downside of that is that means the boost control system is going to be really, really, really sensitive. 3% causing that much variance. That's not fun. That's not fun at all. So what I do know is I need a little more derivative and less integral, it looks like. So I'm going to go for more derivative, less integral here on the boost. Closed loop, boost control. So derivative gain. That's 50% more. Remember that. I did one click, and that's 50% more. This is boost. That's a 20% reduction right there. So just things to keep in mind when you're making a change, like I said. You know what PID controls are? I talk about them in my stream all the time because they're really important that people understand how they work. PID is a strategy by which you decide how to alter the control device based on your controlled parameter. So what I'm saying is my controlled parameter in this is boost. My controlled device is my boost control solenoid. Okay? So how do I change or alter the state of the boost control solenoid based on or in order to achieve my desired control parameter, boost, all right? So PID is a scheme that's used in controllers all over the world, in air conditioning and CNC stuff, and any production manufacturing, and any temperature control device, any control system, almost all of them have a PID scheme. Unless it's open loop, in which case it's not really a control device at that point. It's a suggested device, but anything that has a feedback loop or something is probably going to have some sort of PID control in it. PID stands for proportional integral derivative. Proportional is based on the current instantaneous error. So wherever the error is right this second, that is what the proportional is based on. So what that means is proportional means that an output that is proportional to the error. Okay? So my error is what I got minus what I want. Right? Oh, okay. So if I have 20 and I want 30, my error is negative 10. Right? So I'm just looking at my air mass there. Integral is based on area under the curve. So if you were to plot the error over time, you would have this bulk of curve, right, or a spot between the two curves. So you have my target was up here, and what I have is down here, and I have this spot in here. I built this area under the curve as to how far off I am my target. Okay, and so integral is basically summing up all of that and then coming up with a value. Okay, so the way it does that is it samples every so many milliseconds. What's the error now? Oh, it's 10. Okay, I need to add whatever it is. In that case, I think it was like 0.02% based on, or times the error for every sample thing. So it's going to add, 0.2%, 0.2%, 0.2%, 0.2%, for a while, until the error starts to shrink. Then as the error shrinks, it's going to add 0.1, 0.1, that kind of thing. And that's going to keep adding to the cycle. And then if you go over your target, it's going to start subtracting off of the cycle, off of the calculated amount. And then derivative is based on the derivative of the line, and the derivative is the slope of the line. Why is my airfield target off so much all of a sudden? This thing was like dead nuts on earlier. And now I got this huge 15% too rich right here. That is some weird shit. Oh, it's probably off this much because I changed the cam timing. If I had to guess, because I was messing with the cam timing, I probably have different cam timing in the spot. And that's why it's so rich. All right, so I'll do a pull first, then we'll come back to the zone. So we got a little less wiggle. And you can see here the blue line is much closer to the white line. There's still some wiggle. And now we're getting wiggle idle again, so that's fun. But you see there's a lot less wiggle right here, so it's doing a little better. And you can see here as well, the integral didn't go up and down like it did before. Here the derivative is more active, but only by 0.5%, so that's not much. What the fuck? We must pop the line off. I gotta double check. There's no reason it should be running this bad all of a sudden. Yeah, look at that. And the fuel trims are really far off. So something changed on us.
All right. Tracing back events, I figured out what happened to Aussie's car. So it showed up here running like shit, not running.
All right.
He said he was driving along, it shut off, and he thought it was fuel pump related, it wouldn't start. We got it started here, ran like butt. We put the break-in map that says speed density on it, works fine.
All right.
So why would it run like butt on the base map, but run fine on the speed density?
Was that a leak? A boost leak?
So Tanner said he smoke tested it, but the intercooler coupler off the intercooler is completely like this.
But that's weird because I checked the mass airflow sensor during the polls. It wasn't going up. That's really odd. Typically, if I have a boost leak, that mass airflow just keeps climbing up. Unless it's just so big, I guess, that there's not enough air making it to the exhaust for it to help itself.
I mean, if the turbo's sucking in air and blowing it out the hole,
right,
at a rate that's happens to match
sure.
something.
Yeah, but typically the mass airflow, right? Because that would imply that because it made 80 wheel and the airflow was 100, so it was within 20% of where 20% of where it should be. Weird. Yeah. That's good. So
I pulled the downpipe off, turbo's met, wastegate's fine.
Okay. Intercooler pipes off. I think something popped off of this because it just started doing this all of a sudden. Now it's really, really rich at idle for some reason. It wasn't before.
Yeah. Now Nick put that car together, so every bolt I've taken off has been less than hand tight.
That's not. That's weird.
Seems like it's hunting a little bit too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, like it was all within 3% at idle, and now all of a sudden it's 15% off and hunting. What's weird is it's rich.
Yeah, it's really hunting.
Really? Thank you. These really wavy lines didn't tell me.
Just start compensating for it.
Yeah, I'll just tune in for a vacuum leak or whatever kind of leak it is.
Well, that's what you do with the Turbo Smart Boost or wastegate.
Yeah.
You just tune it when it's low, make it high, and when it's high, make it low. And hope that on the street and through every condition ever, it's the same.
They're pretty shitty. Turbo shark.
Turbo shark?
That's what I call them.
It's funny that a guy posted on Garrett's Instagram, he posted a G35 900 and a Turbo Smart wastegate, like as his thing, and I was like, ew, gross. Like, why do you buy a $4,000 or $3,000 retail turbo and then a $250 wastegate that doesn't work? What's wrong with you?
All right, something's going on. It's more than 50% off. It's like 50% off. the hell is going on? This is weird.
Say hunting. What is that?
Hunting is bouncing around a target. So it's and the real name is hunting for the target, like it's looking for the target. What is it doing is doing this, bouncing up and down. And you hear over and under. Yeah. Hmm. That is really weird. I don't know why this big change all of a sudden. It's got ethanol, so that table's fine. I don't have TMF on here. It does have this modeled in here though for this spot, just for tip-in though. It's still stupid rich though. That's so weird. So look right here. This is lambda. See 0.7 there? It's supposed to be 10 or at least 975. And earlier it was. It was idling at the correct spot. Now it's way off. And that is really, really bizarre. It is way, way off.
What does that number tell you?
So that is what your current air-fuel ratio is. Remember the stoichiometric ratio I was talking about before?
Yeah.
And it's saying lambda of 1. Remember I said lambda 1 equals your stoichiometric ratio? Okay. So in this case, what we're saying is we have departed from 1 by 0.3, basically, right? So we're 0.3 off of 1, which is 30%. That means that right now it is 30, 40, 45% too much fuel on the engine. Magically. Somehow I have 45% too much fuel on the engine at idle. Yeah, that's.
Is that a higher?
I don't know. It didn't seem like it, but I can't think of a single thing that would cause me to get 45% more fuel in the motor than. Oh wait, actually, this air mass here is kind of high, but it ain't 45% high. Boy, that is that's something. Race car is supposed to start poorly. Duh. Oh, yeah, my bad. This is idle poorly too, I guess, right? I mean, it starts fine. It's idle butthole. What the hell? And what's weird is I got a fuel pressure sensor, and I know the fuel pressure's not off enough to give it 45%. Hmm. Fuel trims are all 0. Individual trims are all 0. Bank trims are 0. Secondary fuel is 0, thankfully. Primary is the current O2 sensor, or the current injectors, which shouldn't be anything weird. V table is fine. Final VE is blend between the two, 60%. That's fine. That's not 45% high. This is a little high. The map mass is a smidge high. Excel fuel, none of it is being applied right now. The clamp is 1.6. There's nothing on here that says it should be running lean or rich. That is a trip. Still want an EMtron? I'm just kidding. RPM, so VVT is not active right now. It's still locked out, so I'm not adding cam timing. That's not doing anything weird. So that means that the O2 sensor has got to be damaged. That can't be right. It just can't be fucking right. That wouldn't make any sense. Like, why would the computer's magic start adding 45% fuel when everything says 0? So you know I'm plugged it in. Pull that guy. I'm plugging the sensor. You're back. It's in the pipe. Oh, it's plugged in. Okay. Weird. It's plugged in. There's just not enough airflow at idle through that 4 quad tip exhaust thing. Oh no, or the sensor's bad. Ain't doing shit. So the question now is it right now or was it right before? Configure. Boy, that took a long time. Channels input. Engine. Powerful boost. Engine temp. I don't have exhaust pressure, right? Barometric and fuel. Okay, so then do lambda. Pressure correction is off, as it should be. It is a 4.9 sensor. All of that looks good. All the trims said 0 on the status report. You're all off. I think something wrong with the sensor. It's all plugged in, should be fine. Yeah, it's the same spot it was before. But if I add these up, negative 15 plus that, that's 40-something% incorrect fueling. And while 4.7 grams is a little high, it should be like maybe 4.0. It's not 40% high, right? So if I lower this, for example, then that went down to 4.6, right? Like a little teeny bit. We're at 10% ethanol, so we're on the first map. Second map doesn't do anything. We're not using TMAP, so that doesn't do anything. Nothing in the trim. Yeah, no user comps. Transient fuel wasn't active from what I saw. We can double check that. Actually, let's do that. Let's go to trims first. Trims, 0. 0. Self-fuel 0. Hmm. Fuck. Hmm. Shout out Isaac Newton. Is that for the PID stuff? GW Sci-Fi injectors. Yeah, right. They're pretty bad. Um, this has got IDs on it. 1050s. Too stupid for Diamond. Too broke for EMtron. That's funny. You know what? Sometimes this shit bugs me. Stop it. Windows 11 is trash, by the way. If anybody has Windows 11, I feel sorry for you. It's absolute garbage. There we go. Choose for not to work on Tron. Well, I got to figure out what's going on here because obviously that's not good. I don't know if it's the O2 sensors is screwed up and that's telling the EMtron that it's lean when it's not or that it's rich when it's not. Oh, you know what I could do? I'll give the short term and long term a bunch of authority, and if it just pulls fuel out of it until it dies, then we know that there's something definitely wrong with it. Good. Now it's pulled 30%. Look at that. It's on target. So 37% fuel pulled out to hit target. Why is that? Well, maybe I screwed something up. Let's think about it. What could I have screwed up? The injectors. Well, they're supposed to be 1050s. That's what I was told. And it ran great in boost up here. And it was programmed at 1050. So if it was actually 13s, it should have run so rich that it would have fallen on its face. And in the log, I don't see that. Okay. Let's go to engine health. Temperatures look normal. It did go rich, but it was still adding 3%. So in fact, it was adding through most of the pull. So I can't see that being wrong, because otherwise it's been really rich. Oh, look at this. Oh, wow. What is fuel pressure doing? Hmm. So it goes from 40 to 120. That's interesting. Looking at a smidge more. Timing is stupid conservative. Look at 6 degrees here, peak boost at 4,500 and 14 at redline. So I mean, this thing will pick up probably 30 wheel with some timing once I get to where I can figure all the fuel stuff out. So 30 wheel would not be too bad. Okay, let's check fuel pressure right now. What is fuel pressure? Maybe I got the injector set up for the wrong size or the wrong flow rate based on pressure. Or someone set the pressure with the line off. I didn't realize it. Yeah, so that's a little high. So I got a fuel diff of 350. Okay, and I don't think I have that set for that. Okay, that's correct, but that's not. These injectors at 350 are flowing quite a bit more than that. Check injectordynamics.com. I'll go to their website, get the actual flow rate. That's really weird that it was right on before, though. It's like maybe the sensor was fouled up and it was just reading wrong. And then a couple pulls later, it got hot enough to clean the O2 sensor off. Because that is, because it was just dead nuts on.
Does it tell you whether it's upstream or downstream?
It's in the downpipe. Post turbo, otherwise it'd be way screwed up. It better be. Fuck, it better be. There's no exhaust pressure on this one, so if they put it pre-turbo, that would definitely mess it up during the boost. During the boost, that's good English. Winston boost. Okay, so 350. So that's 51 psi basically. So it should be 1145 for the injector size. Oh, still, it's only a few percent. It's hot in here. So now we're 20% too rich through this whole area. Okay, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go to VVT cam control. We're gonna do a position test and see if there's a cam stuck somewhere. Usually it would run a lot worse than this, but so absolute signal 131.3. I got 131.8, so that's no big deal. I'll bump this 131.5. Okay, that did not change. Right hand intake cam. 15.0. 8.5. Okay, that's close enough. That's not an appreciable difference to make a difference on anything that we did. That's just it got warm. That one's right on. This one's right on. So all the cams are in the right position. Yeah, it's weird. Well, I changed the injector scaling, so let's see what fuel does up top again now. Now that leans out some across the board. Make sure that it still gets enough fuel up top. Fuel pumps turned off again. Remember the thing earlier, the fuel pumps? Turned off again. That's, you guys weren't here for this, but this thing had an issue where the fuel pumps turned off at random. Huh. When I run the controller in an intermediate speed, it's like it overheats or something. Which is crazy because iWire says that they don't overheat and there's never a problem with them as long as you give enough voltage. And I definitely give enough voltage. It's got a huge fucking line to it, so. If I run it at full speed, then they don't trip out because the voltage divider isn't active at 100%. Something ain't right with this car. Something is not right with this car. I don't know what it is yet. Can't figure it out. It's 12% lean everywhere now. It's running lean now. So 12% lean everywhere. So whatever change magically happened affected everything. Yeah, duty cycle was 73 earlier, now it's 69. You know, you would think something like that would be the issue, but the pressure is right here in the log. And
it looks fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's off, but it's the same, as I'm saying. It's off, but it's the same as it was before.
Oh.
And in fact, the pressure.
Because you're giving it full power, right? Or 100%,
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. It's got full power, exactly. Why is it asking me for diff 1? Yeah, it's pressure. I also have fuel pressure. Hit OK. fuel pressure is going up. Fuel pressure is going up with boost at a more than 1-to-1 ratio. Wow, this is really interesting. So the fuel pressure is going up more than 1-to-1, and it's getting worse with fuel flow or with boost. The fact that it's getting worse is crazy because the fuel pumps are already running 100%. So the highest fuel pressure you'd think would be now, but it's not. And it's going up a lot more than it should. So like the fuel pressure differential should be like 350. There's 400. Here's 450. So it's supposed to be 350, and the differential is going up to 450 or so. 460 there. That's weird. Huh. What do you guys think? Anything? I don't have an idea. This is definitely weird. Like, when the fuel pressure should be lower, it's higher. And that part is mind-boggling. And then when we're at idle now, we're off 45%. Like, it just magically changed. And if the boost line, for example, blew off of the regulator, then you would have it lean at idle, not rich. And then in boost, it would be lean because it wouldn't go up with boost pressure. Well, the fuel pressure would be high at idle, but the vacuum leak would have to be lean. So sometimes it's a wash, depending on how big the vacuum leak is. But regardless of that, when you get into boost, it'd be low pressure. But here, the pressure is high. It's huh. Well, shit, guys, I gotta think about this, and I'm gonna troubleshoot stuff on the car. I gotta figure out if the boost control or the fuel pressure regulator is hooked up right, or with some kinks in some lines, or what, because that should not be the case. The other issue is perhaps the in-tank Venturi pump is being restrictive, but that should be restrictive right now when the fuel flow is the highest with both pumps running 100%. Both pumps are 100% right now. I have the most fuel flow. The regulator is bypassing the most. My pressure should be the highest, and I have all the fuel going back in the tank, and so the jet pump in the hangar should be struggling the most right now to keep pressure down, so pressure should be high. And then as I get into boost, I start using fuel. The regulator is going to bypass less because I'm using fuel, and I'm going to have less fuel going to the jet pump complex, so the pressure on the discharge side of the regulator should drop. And if it drops, pressure, everything should drop, and yet everything's going up. So that is really, really bizarre. And I got to figure it out. And I can't do it sitting here in the seat. So I guess with that, I'm going to say I hope you guys got to see a few things on the EMtron. Got to figure out why the fuel pump issue still exists. Got to figure out why it turns itself off if I try and run 66%. We put a meter on the controllers earlier, and as I changed the output from the EMtron based on fuel pump speed, it changed appropriately. It wasn't incorrect at all. It changed as it was supposed to. So the question is, why do these controllers keep turning off even though they're getting a correct signal? I don't know. And why is pressure higher when it should be lower? Unless the return path is clogged. But even then, the return path is clogged. I'm using less fuel, but I'm pumping more of it. It should be the highest now, and it's not. So I'm really confused. So I'm sorry I don't have any answers for you guys or anything exciting to watch anymore. Plus it's 4:30. This guy's got to go soon, and I got to close the shop and stuff like that. So I'm going to end the stream on that with me contemplating my life and my choice of employment, and see if I can figure out what the hell's wrong with this car in the next day or so. I'm leaving on a trip for Christmas and stuff. I got to go see family. I got my daughter coming out, and that's personal stuff, but just so you guys know, I'm super excited about that. Get to see my kid for the first time in a couple of years. And so I will be gone for a few weeks. I won't be streaming. I won't be posting any videos or anything. But it is the holiday season, and that stuff happens, right? So hope you guys have a good holiday if I don't see you then. Yeah.